I'm looking at 2 Kings 23, starting in verse 31. This king named Jehoahaz. Just some quick information about him. He's the 16th king of Judah. He reigns for just about 3 months during Israel's captivity, and his spiritual state is evil. His prophet is Jeremiah. The verses you'll find him in is 2 Kings 23, 30 through 37, and then again in 2 Chronicles. We'll go there in a minute. His parents are Josiah and Hamutal. So that's just some quick information about him. His name means the Lord has taken hold. But let's look at him here. Verse 31, it says, Jehoahaz was 23 years old when he began to reign. That's young. That's really young for somebody right now living in America. 23, you're still just a baby, it seems like. You want to do the same thing that you was doing when you was 15, a lot of them. I mean, that's young. And he only reigns for 3 months. It says, and he reigned 3 months. That's funny because that's about as long as a lazy person will keep a job. And I've worked with so many people on my job, training people in and out, like revolving door. About as long as you keep them, at the most 3 months. Now, I've had people that come in Monday, they don't come back Tuesday. I get a guy on Wednesday, don't come back Thursday. But usually the longest you get somebody, other than 1 out of 50 people, about 3 months. And that's the length of his reign. Kind of like you go to Burger King. Every time you go to Burger King, about every 3 months, it's a different one. You go to McDonald's, every 3 months, it's a different one. So this guy's like a Burger King king. He's in there for 3 months, and then he's out. So he gets about a 3-month reign in Jerusalem. And his mother's name was Hamutal, the daughter of Jeremiah of Libnah. So this Hamutal married Josiah, Jehoahaz's father, and Josiah was a good king. Most likely, Hamutal was a good woman. She's the daughter of Jeremiah of Libnah. Now, that's not Jeremiah the prophet that wrote the book of Jeremiah. This is a different guy, Jeremiah of Libnah. And when I read verses like this, I just think about, it doesn't say much about this guy, but then you think about who he is. This Jeremiah of Libnah would have been the grandfather of Jehoahaz. And I just think about, what could have this Jeremiah guy done or said to make an impact on this guy's life, on Jehoahaz's life, so that he doesn't ruin things like he does. Because the next verse says that the Jehoahaz king did evil in the sight of the Lord. Grandparents, they have a huge effect on people. Like, you think about your kids. If you've got a good grandparent to them kids, they love their grandparents. They love going to grandma's house. They love going to their grandfather's house. They love to sit in their grandfather's lap. They love for their grandma to make them something to eat and to play with them. And they love it when she comes over. If you've got a good grandmother in your life, a good grandfather in your life, if those kids do, it makes a huge impact on them. And, if you're a grandparent and you got kids that don't even believe the Bible, or don't even care about the Bible, don't care about God or nothing, but you do, you can have a huge impact on those grandkids' life by spending time with them, putting the word in them, taking them to church, whatever you do, just telling them about God, telling them about the Lord Jesus Christ. Grandparents can make a huge impact. And you just got to think, what if this Jeremiah of Libnah, maybe he did say something and Jehoahaz just didn't even care. I'm sure Josiah did too, but because Josiah was a good king. But this Jeremiah guy, imagine, I wonder if he even tried to have an impact on this grandkid's life of his. That's the thoughts that come through my mind when I read these verses and I look at these people that are mentioned in here. They're not really mentioned anywhere else. And you get to thinking about who they were. What did they do? What were they like? That's the stuff I speculate about. But, what about his mother, this Hamutal? Mothers have a huge impact. You're with the kid most times. The mom's with the kid a lot more than the father. And, what are you putting in your kid? Are you putting in them Bible, Jesus Christ, good morals? Or are you just putting in them the latest rap song? When y'all go down the road, are you putting in the latest rap song? Or are you putting in godly music? Are you cussing in front of them and saying filthy stuff? Like, I was at a football practice with my son the other night, and there's like 5 women over there. They're holding kids in their arms, and they're cussing. They're talking about getting drunk. They're talking about drinking rum. And it was insane. I mean, there was kids everywhere. It's a kids' function. It's football practice and cheerleading practice, and you got all that going on out there. And you got all these moms holding babies being stupid. No wonder people's turning out so bad. Look at what they're growing up in. I mean, it's like, you look at them kids and it's like they just have no chance. Because they're out there cussing, talking about drinking. I mean, they're just raising the kids to do that very same thing. But so it says in verse 32, and he did that which was evil in the sight of the Lord, according to all that his fathers had done. Now, Josiah hadn't done that. Josiah messed up a little bit at the end, but he was a good father. But, you look at the fathers before, Jehoahaz, and some of the things that they did, guys like Manasseh, and, you're setting, you think that you're just maybe affecting yourself, but you're not just affecting you, you're affecting your kid, then you're affecting you're affecting your kid, and then your kid affects his kid, and then that kid affects his kid, and it goes on and on and on. You're creating like a chain with your actions and your words. I mean, I'm sure that there's words that I say that my grandparents said. I'm saying them in front of my kids, and then they're going to say them, and it's just like a chain. You're creating the character of people generations after you by things you say, your morals, how you act. And you see, he's doing according to all that his fathers had done. And verse 33 says, and Pharaoh Necho put him in bands. So Pharaoh Necho, who is this guy? He's the Pharaoh. He's the king of Egypt over there. And Pharaoh Necho's name means carrying out the desires of the heart. Now, if you're familiar with the Bible, you're familiar with typology, you know that the pharaohs, now there's more than one Pharaoh. Don't get it confused here. This ain't the same Pharaoh from back there in Exodus. This ain't the same Pharaoh from Genesis. There's different pharaohs in the Bible. This is Pharaoh Necho. And if you've heard of Bible typology, pharaohs in the Bible are a type of the devil or the Antichrist. Egypt, that he's king over, that's a picture or a type of the world. And that's exactly what the world will do. That's what the world did to Jehoahaz. Pharaoh Necho put him in bands. The world will put you in bands. The devil will put you in bands. And that's not a rock band. That's chains. Not Alice in Chains. They chained him up. And and that's like you. When you, just like the Pharaoh Necho guy's name, carrying out the desires of the heart. When you carry out the desires of your heart, Jeremiah said that Your heart is deceitful. Jeremiah 17:9. Deceitful, desperately wicked. Who can know it? And you carry out the desires of your heart, you're going to end up in chains. You're going to end up in bands by Pharaoh Necho. Just like Jehoahaz here. 3 months, he's already in chains. Pharaoh Necho put him in bands at Riblah, in the land of Hamath, that he might not reign in Jerusalem. Now, when I see that phrase right there, that he might not reign in Jerusalem, I don't know about you, but that reminds me of, practically speaking, how can you apply that to you as a Christian? If the devil, your Pharaoh Necho, causes you to carry out the desires of your heart, he's going to put you in bands, and he's going to cause you not to reign, not to have any reign in Jerusalem. You know that the rapture is about to happen soon. We're going to go to the judgment seat of Christ. You're going to get gold, silver, precious stones if you've done good works with the right motive. You're going to get a crown if you've done good works with the right motive. You're going to get some inheritance. You're going to get some reign over some cities. And, Paul tells Timothy, if we suffer with him, we shall also reign with him. If we deny him, he'll deny us, meaning he'll deny you the reign. The devil is trying to do all that he can do because he don't want you to have any reign in Jerusalem. He don't want you to have any reign over any cities anywhere. Because he wants the reign. He wants to be the one. He wants to be like the Most High. That used to be his land. So he wants you to carry out the desires of your heart so he can get you in bands. He can get you chained up because that's where he's going. Revelation 20. During the millennial kingdom, when Jesus Christ is reigning on earth in the millennium, the devil gets chained up. He's going to put in some bands. But it says in verse 33, and put the land to a tribute. Put the land to a tribute of 100 talents of silver and a talent of gold. So Pharaoh Necho comes in, and he's got all these people paying tribute. They're dishing out their silver. They're dishing out their gold. Just like, see how the Bible's written in such a way, you can get so much application out of this. Because what does the Bible say? 1 Corinthians 3:12. You're going to get gold, silver, precious stones. If you're doing it right with the right motive, if you're serving God with the right motive, you're going to get gold, silver, precious stones. The devil wants to take away your silver and gold. Just like Pharaoh Necho does. He's taken away that silver and gold from the people. And remember that the devil, Ezekiel 28, he was that anointed cherub that covereth. He had that gold, silver, precious stones built into his body. He lost that stuff. Now he wants to keep you from getting it. But he wants you to have the chains that he's going to get. But so this Pharaoh Necho guy comes in, takes Jehoahaz, puts him in bands, makes everybody pay tribute to him to show that he's got the power and authority and control over the people now. And look at this. And Pharaoh Necho made Eliakim, the son of Josiah, king in the room of Josiah his father, and turned his name to Jehoiakim, and took Jehoahaz away, and he came to Egypt and died there. So he gets rid of Jehoahaz and puts Eliakim in there. You see, Jehoahaz just a young guy, 23. But this is just like the world does to people. While you're young, real young, the world will use you. Or you just think of like Hollywood. They're young. The world uses them. You think about especially like those Disney stars starting out real young, like Hilary Duff, Lindsay Lohan, Justin Bieber, all that type of stuff. They're young. They're using them to getting all this money off of them. Then they'll just cut you off like that. And then you look at them now like Britney Spears. They just look crazy. Like you would look at them like this is a crazy person. Like that Amanda Bynes person looks like completely different now. Still young compared to a lot of people, but They'll use you while you're really young, then they'll just throw you away. It's nothing for the devil to just use you for a bit and then throw you away, because the world does not care about you. Just like Pharaoh Necho sees Jehoahaz. He's 23. He's a young guy, but they'll just throw him out. They'll replace you even at a young age. You see, Jehoahaz got replaced. You're nothing to him. You're nothing to the devil. He will give you the pleasure of sin for a season. He'll use you for a little bit. He'll pay you for it. It pays to serve the devil for a little bit, but it's just like an earthly payment that don't go very far, even on earth, and then it ain't no good eternally. But then he just gives you the boot, and he leaves you, and then you're just looking like a crazy person. I'd say Jehoahaz in them chains, he just looked like a crazy person. He took Jehoahaz away, and he came to Egypt and died there. Once again, these phrases. I just love the words and phrases in the Bible. Just looking at every little word, like we've only went, like we're on that one. This is just a fourth verse. And all the way through it, just seeing little words and phrases that remind us, practically speaking, about how the devil, the flesh, the world does to us. He came to Egypt and died there. What's Egypt a picture of? The world. You go to the world, you'll die there. You know, what does it say over in Romans? What does Paul say? If you live for the flesh, you'll die. And this is interesting too. If you look over in Jeremiah chapter 22, really quick, the prophet Jeremiah prophesies the death of Jehoahaz, and actually calls him by a different name over in Jeremiah 22, Jeremiah 22:10. It says, Weep ye not for the dead, neither bemoan him, but weep sore for him that goeth away, for he shall return no more, nor see his native country. For thus saith the Lord, touching Shallum, the son of Josiah, king of Judah, which reigned instead of Josiah his father, which went forth out of this place, he shall not return thither any more, but he shall die in the place where they have led him captive, and shall see this land no more. So Jeremiah prophesies his death. And, you know, the Bible is prophesying that you live for the flesh, you'll die. You got a warning from the preacher, the Lord Jesus Christ. Jehoahaz, he had a warning from his preacher, Jeremiah. And the Bible says, if you live for the flesh, you die, just like Jehoahaz. And it says, and Jehoiakim gave the silver and the gold to Pharaoh. See, he wants to take that silver and gold, and he taxed the land to give the money according to the commandment of Pharaoh. He exacted the silver and the gold of the people of the land, of every one according to his taxation, to give it unto Pharaoh Necho. You're just given, you got all these opportunities to live for God and get rewards at the judgment seat of Christ. But when you live for the flesh and the devil, you're just giving the devil his temporary pleasure and temporary comfort on this earth that he's longed so much for. Every time you live for him or the flesh, you're just giving him what he longs for. You're giving him that little temporary reign that he's always longed to have, ever since he said, I will be like the Most High. But that was a quick one. Well, we need to go look at Jehoahaz over in Chronicles as well. Forgot about that. Over in 2 Chronicles 36. So let's look at 2 Chronicles 36 and verse 1. It says, Then the people of the land took Jehoahaz, the son of Josiah, and made him king in his father's stead in Jerusalem. So this was the people's choice here. This is who they wanted in there. And just because the majority may want something doesn't mean that they're always right either. It says Jehoahaz was 23 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 3 months in Jerusalem. And the king of Egypt, see that Pharaoh Necho, he's the king of Egypt. And the king of Egypt put him down at Jerusalem and condemned the land in 100 talents of silver and a talent of gold. Put him down. That's like you'd say like with a dog. You know, you just put him down. So to this Pharaoh Necho, this guy was just a dog, just an animal. That's what you are to the devil. You're less than that to the devil. And the king of Egypt made Eliakim his brother king over Judah and Jerusalem, and turned his name to Jehoiakim. And Necho took Jehoahaz his brother and carried him to Egypt. Jehoiakim was 25 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 11 years in Jerusalem, and he did that which was evil in the sight of the Lord his God. And we'll get into that guy next time. But you see this pattern. It's like no matter what happens to them, they see all this stuff happening to people. Like he saw what happened to Jehoahaz, yet he does evil on the side of the Lord. The same thing's going to happen to him. But just so many great little practical lessons in there. It's great history to read it, and it's great practically too. But I'll stop there.